Wisdom is not knowledge, but lies in the use we make of knowledge. Nilakanta Sriram. This is Citadelium, episode 19, and I'm your host, Yuri Degaya. Today I want to talk about something inspired by the recent events, especially the events in the United States, connected to the election and the whole situation in general. And it's not really an episode about the political angle of this thing, but more about the technological angle and more particularly about social media. So, what I wanted to cover here is how social media affects our lives, and not from the point of view of a blogger who just writes about how you need to cut down on your social media to improve your sleep and get some more time. But it's more about the psychological effects of it and how it really wears you down in terms of energy too, because let's face it, the social media is just another epidemic that we're having right now, and I think it's very important to take care to study how it affects you and your life. And with that said, I wanted to pay attention to the recent events here, especially with what happened with the so-called QAnon movement that was happening in the United States. I think it's pretty important whether you support it or not, because it shows you how a lot of people, virtually half the country or more than half the country, could be led to believe a certain theory that was propagated on social media websites, and how those social media websites basically helped in propagating such ideas. And I'm not sure whether this whole movement is true or not. I mean, at this point, I guess after what happened in the United States on January 6th and then January the 20th, which is pretty much nothing happened, right? And or at least not what all the followers of the QAnon movement expected would happen, and got super. They got super upset about it. Of course, I think that's pretty much what the episode is about. This campaign that a lot of people already calling a PSYOP, a psychological operation, done by probably intelligence agencies, but also with the help of social media websites such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, and all those websites. So I will tell you how I got into social media, and then how I'm getting out of it. So if I had to start, I guess I would start with the fact that I did watch television before, and I watched quite a lot of it when I was a kid. But as I started growing up, I didn't really pay much attention to it. It was always on in our house, and my parents watched it, of course, and I just watched it just because it was on, right? So mostly it was politics, sometimes movies, but the news channels were pretty prevalent as well, and this is how you get that information, right? But at some point, years ago, thankfully, I decided for myself that TV, just like radio, I guess, is basically random information that is directed at you from whatever channel you want. You have this illusion of choice, of course, because you have a few channels. We had, maybe 5, 6, or 10 channels before. Then with the proliferation of satellite and digital TV, you would have hundreds of channels. So there's obviously lots of choice, lots of options, and you can say, well, I can watch whatever I want because I have so many channels to choose from. And that's what I thought at first. But then I still realized that it's not better. It's just more more of the same stuff on different languages, on different topics, but you are still exposed to random information that is devised by the people who run these channels, by people who run these corporations that operate these TV channels, and whatever they think they want you to see, you see on the screen, and you can say that they are private businesses and they usually respond to customer demand, but I highly doubt that is the case. For the most part, I think they are still connected to all kinds of uh, interests out there who push various agendas. It can be all kinds of agendas. Let's say something very simple that everybody agrees on, I guess, which is let's say pharmaceutical companies, right? You can see lots of pharmaceutical advertisements on TV right now. Pretty much every second advertisement is pharmaceuticals. There's a pill absolutely for everything. You are bloated, there's a pill. You have pimples, there's a pill. You have this or that, there's always a pill. So they always want to sell you a pill for something, and they will never tell you to maybe remove the primary cause for your illness, because there's no way to sell pills if you actually get healed. So that's just one of the angles, but there is a lot more, of course, on all kinds of channels. There's all kinds of things that they sell to you, and this is what they really want to do. So my point here is that this whole TV situation is about selling you something, whether it's information, whether it's a product, or whether it's some kind of a propaganda message. That is what they want you to sell, and that's why they make it so addictive to watch TV. So that's what I understood very many years ago, I guess, and I dropped TV altogether. And if I ever had TV in my apartments, wherever I lived, it was just a box. It was not connected to any cable TV. So what I wanted to do with it is just to watch whatever I wanted, whatever I chose. And if I wanted to watch some kind of a movie, I would first pick that movie myself, and then I would download it on a USB drive or connect my computer to that TV and watch it that way. So there would be no TV program that I would follow and just pick a movie out of 10 that I could watch. No, I would actually just look for my own movie, right? So that's the problem with TV. But then along came social media, and this is where the social media story starts for everybody else, I guess. And things like Facebook, and in Russia there was this social media. It still is. It's pretty big, called VK or Vkontakte. Right now it's pretty international as well, vk.com, and then Twitter as well, and so I did jump onto Facebook and VK, and they are pretty similar. So I spent a few years there, quite a few years, and yes, I used it to chat with people, to post all kinds of statuses. Basically, all my personal life was there, and I really didn't. Get much out of it, I guess, in return. This is when, just a few years, just like with TV, I realized that all this social media experience, the Facebook and the VK, it's not much different from TV, because while this social media experience gives you another ability, an ability to actually interact. Remember that TV is a one-way show, right? They throw information at you, and that's it. You have nothing. You have no objection, unless you want to call the TV station itself and maybe raise some objections, or make some comments. You cannot do anything. The social media gives you that opportunity. You can actually have a voice there, and you can discuss things. But at the same time, you still get bombarded with a lot of random stuff, and this is what I didn't like about it. You can literally scroll your timeline infinitely and get exposed to all kinds of stuff that you're not even interested in, and this will be very important when we get back to the QAnon thing, and similar things that happen around the world. So I understood that a few years after using Facebook and Vkontakte, and I decided to leave those social networks. I haven't been using any of them for over 5 years, I think, now, and it's been a blessing, really. I don't miss them one bit. It's really great. I have no idea what people are doing. I have no idea what happens in people's life, and I am proud to not have hundreds of friends, as they are called on Facebook, for example, because they are really not friends, right? They're just social media connections. That's what they are, and I don't really care if someone got into a relationship with someone else, someone got married, someone not. Yeah, at the same time, if we do meet in real life, there is a lot of conversations that can happen. There's a lot of topics to discuss because if I haven't seen someone for quite a while, we can at least talk about something instead of just saying, "Hey, I saw on Facebook that you got married. Congrats." So that's not already a surprise, right? There's not much interesting conversation there. So I left Facebook pretty much like I left TV, but then there came along Twitter for me, and Twitter promised to be something different because it's a microblogging platform, and that platform, I guess, if you're looking for something a little more intellectual, you would probably go on Twitter because that's where more, I guess, intellectuals hang out and they just discuss ideas in this microblogging fashion. And if you remember, the original idea for Twitter was that when you sign up, there's absolutely nothing on your feed because you're not following anyone, so it's an empty feed. So you only get to see what you follow, right? If you follow a person, that's the content that you're gonna see, and nothing else, nothing random, as was the case with TV and later Facebook. So then you started following people, and your feed started populating with all kinds of content that was coming directly from those people. But then again, something changed there, something changed in the algorithm, and as you follow more and more people, as there's more and more interactions, their systems, their bots, their AI, whatever they call it, is learning about you and your interests and your behaviors, and then it starts feeding you with random information again. So your feed is no longer chronological, that's number one. It's based on your likes and dislikes, right? And then you are also fed random information. You start seeing tweets that are not from people that you follow. They are from people that other people that you follow, or they're liked tweets from other people that you follow, but nothing that you would follow yourself. There are also suggested and promoted tweets that shouldn't be on your timeline either. And of course, there's this section on Twitter right now called the trending section or the news section, where it's clearly very, very biased. It's just pure propaganda 24 hours, no matter what interests you have, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever they want you to see, that's what it is, and it's just in your face all the time. I don't use Twitter on my phone, so I'm not really sure what it looks like there, but on the website, on the web version of it, it's just always there, and you can't really hide it. So what I want to say here is that Twitter basically became what Facebook and TV were when I left them, right? So I can't really control the flow of information anymore, and I have friends who try to coordinate and to moderate the information that they are exposed to on Twitter, and they exchange block lists. So they block a lot of people. They block pretty much anyone who they don't want to see in their timeline, and that works well, I guess. But at the same time, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time to do that, and I can't imagine that how many people they already blocked. Probably thousands and thousands all the time. It takes not just physical effort. Obviously, just clicking buttons with your mouse and with the keyboard is not that physically expanding, I guess, but it still takes a little bit of your mental energy. You still have to think about it. It's just another thing to think about, another thing to take care of, and uh, you should always know that there is an unlimited amount of these bots and random people who will flood your timeline any day now. So I think you'll end up just blocking everybody all day long, and that's what your Twitter experience will be eventually, right? So I'm completely against that. I don't like that. This is the reason why I left Facebook. This is the reason why I don't watch TV. I don't want to be exposed to random information. I only want to be exposed to something that I particularly like, and that I want to follow. And if I stop liking that stuff, I can unfollow it easily and not be exposed to it. And that's it. There's no random information that needs to be in my feed. And let's go back to how this basically ties into this situation in the United States. I think that's how I personally got a bit interested in this whole QAnon thing. I'm not American. I've never lived in America. I just got interested in it because I was exposed to it all the time, every single day on social media. It was just in my face, and because obviously I like to think a bit independently. I like to dig into alternative opinions. I like to obviously read on some of the conspiracy theories, because I don't see anything wrong with conspiracy theories. As you know, my stance on it is it's just a meaningless word at this point. Conspiracy theory is just basically an alternative opinion. So I like to dig into this kind of stuff, and obviously, if I see it repeatingly, day after day, all the time in my timeline, I start getting into this a little bit and reading all these things and getting a little bit excited, even though this is the stuff that has little meaning in my personal life. Doesn't really change my life situation that much, right? And it's also the stuff that I have no control over at all, because it's something that happens in another country where I don't even live. Although I understand that, according to that movement, the stakes are high, and whatever happens in the United States will be reflected around the world. So, and that's probably why I got hooked as well. And then, as everybody knows, after all these years of trust the plan and everything, and excitement of the big things to come, nothing happens, right? So, as you can imagine, lots and lots and lots of people got super disappointed. Now they got all kinds of groups together, and they're discussing how disappointing this whole thing is, and now they're on their own, which they were supposed to be from the very beginning anyway. And yeah, so what my takeaway from this was not the disappointment itself, because I was only half attached to this thing. Just, it was more curiosity rather than an actual emotional attachment, as a lot of Americans experienced. But what I took away from the whole experience is that I got duped to even pay attention to this thing by social media, by Twitter in particularly, and some of the other ones that were linked on Twitter, things like 4chan, where this whole thing originated. I got duped into it by being exposed to it in my timeline, in my feed, by random people, because none of the people that I followed directly were QAnon followers. None of them. None of them were into this stuff. Like, I mostly follow Bitcoiners and people who talk about citadels and things like that, and none of them were into this kind of stuff. But I still got exposed to it, and almost every single day I saw posts about it and retweets about it, and it was pretty convincing, I guess, at that time. So that's what social media did to me, and this realization made me rethink my social media policies right now, and I'm in the process of basically restructuring my social media and how I interact with it. And I think my main takeaway is that I do not want to get duped by it anymore. Obviously, as you know, the parasites control a lot of the media, and social media is not an exception. And if they wanted you to do certain things, they would want to control you via those media. And obviously before TV was the big thing, then and now it's the social media. If you think that just because you have a voice to raise there and yeah, the ability to comment, you are not affected by it and you have free speech there, obviously it's completely false, as you may have noticed. They possess, I would say, highly specialized techniques on how to manipulate the human mind, the human psyche. They are professionals at it, and you may think you are digging into something and doing something on your own accord, and following the rabbit into the rabbit hole because it's you're seeking the truth, but at the same time, it is they who may be leading you into that false rabbit hole, and you don't even know that, right? So, and that happens through their, social media channels. That's how it happens. So, my main, I guess, not a takeaway, but a practical solution to this that I'm thinking about is that uh, we should probably switch to a way of interacting with each other where it's very, very directional and very purposeful. So if I want to, basically the original Twitter experience, where if I want to see something, I follow a particular person and I only see that person's content and nothing else, right? That's it. That's the only. I stopped. If I don't like that person's content anymore, I stop following him. That's it. I'm not exposed to anything else. My feed is completely empty. So that's why right now uh, I started exploring other options, and I did get in onto other social media. Like people say, well, Twitter is now compromised. They banned Donald Trump, the president, and they banned this and that. That's not the point here. And people say, go join Mastodon or Gab or any other social media that work exactly the same way as Twitter, but is run by different people who are, likely more freedom-minded. But it does not change the actual experience of the social media. At some point, if Gab or Mastodon grows to hundreds of millions or billions of users, it's going to be the same experience. You will be bombarded with completely random information in your feed, and and the parasites know that, and they will use those media as well to affect your mind in exactly the same way. So what I think needs to happen is the fundamental change in the way you interact with social media, and that probably has to be a more direct approach. You only follow people and read information that is only that you only want to see and nothing else. You don't get exposed to random information. The so-called signal to noise ratio has to be extremely, extremely high. And Right now, I would say there is not so many good solutions for this, and if there are solutions, the UX may not be perfect. But let's take Telegram for example. Telegram is not just a messenger anymore. It's more of a social media platform at this point, and I'm saying this because on Telegram you can create a channel, and a channel is something that is more like a one-directional message board. You just post messages like tweets or like posts on Facebook in that channel, and whoever subscribes to your channel on Telegram sees your messages. That's it, nothing else. They see only your messages, they don't see anything else. If you grow your channel to hundreds of thousands of people and decide to integrate some advertisements in it, because there are advertisers uh, who make offers to you, then that's up to you. But the users who follow you, who subscribe to your channel, will not see anything that you do not post. They do not see things like, oh, well, you like this channel and this is the content in this channel, but also check out this and check out that, and this suggested tweet, and this may be of interest to you, right? They don't do that. It's not how it works, and this is why I'm starting to like it. It's starting to grow on me, really. And there are obviously other more classical ways of doing this, consuming information in a more direct way, and those are reading blogs and then signing up for newsletters and signing up to watch some YouTube or other video platforms directly to those people, right? So following a podcast. So those are the things that you can do to eliminate the noise and to increase the signal to noise ratio, right? So I highly recommend that you review your social media policy and basically reevaluate and see, maybe ponder upon it a little bit and see whether this social media experience that you're having right now actually has any effect on you, because it probably has some effects that you don't even notice, because it is so sublime, it is so um, almost invisible that a lot of people don't notice. It's similar to those marketing techniques that they use in stores where you don't even know why you buy some stuff. You just bought it on some kind of an impulse. You think it was an impulse, but no, there's just so many subliminal messages everywhere around that particular product that you decided to buy it, right? So it's exactly the same with social media, a lot of it, and reevaluate it and see, because if you remember, I talked about the domains of sovereignty, and the sovereignty of your mind is one of the most important domains here, and you have to in order to be sovereign in your mind, you have to be able to control your thoughts, and if someone else controls them for you, then you're not really sovereign. Social media, unfortunately, in at this point, in whatever form it exists, mostly controls you, and you don't really control it, even though you have an illusion of doing so. Reevaluate it and let me know how that goes. That said, until next time.